Welcome back to the World Go channel. I'm your host and self-appointed Go evangelist, James Story. Today's lesson is 5.5.1 in the series of Fighting Common Shapes. We're going to look at the 1-point Knight's Jump. We will look at the 2-point Knight's Jump in another lesson and the 3-point Knight's Jump in a lesson after that. But today we're going to look at the 1-point Knight's Jump. However, before we get started, we want to thank Annalisa Rosatani of Civita Nova Marche in Italy for, we'll see, Italy. There's Italy. Got the whole word on there. In Italy, Annalisa, thanks for watching the World Go channel. So today we're going to look at the 1-point Knight's Jump. And this is a Knight's Jump with 1 point in between. The Knight's Jump comes from the knight in Western chess and the way it moves 2 spaces and then 1. There's a relationship of a Knight's Jump between these 2 stones. Same with these 2. Same with these 2. Same with these 2. So it happens many times, this relationship of stones all over the board. Let's first look at, the question is, can black maintain these 2 stones, the connection between these 2 stones? Can they keep them connected, or is white able to cut them apart? Let's first look at just kind of the, it's kind of ridiculous, but way down on the first, when one is on the first and one's on the second, notice if white presses from the outside, black blocks, and if white tries to cut, get the cross cut, because that's the only way you can separate and capture stone, or separate stones, right? Black just obviously, can capture. Same way as if white plays here, black plays there. So these two points are kind of me-eye for black and white. And then if white tries to cross cut, black can just black can just capture, or they can also slide out, which on the first line here is not so advantageous, but may be advantageous in other parts of the board. So now we'll move this up to the second and third line. All right, once again, we'll see if white can separate these stones. Black blocks, white tries to poke through, black blocks, white cross cuts, and black can just Atari like this. And once we know that once a stone is in Atari at the edge of the board, it cannot get out, right? And capture, obviously. Easy, but obvious. Obvious but easy. Or obvious and easy, actually. Okay, so what happens if white, instead of playing on top here in the third line, comes down from the second? Black plays there. White cross cuts, or black will just connect. And then black can Atari, or just Atari with a kind of a ladder technique, or just Atari and push white to the edge of the board, and white once again can't get out and is captured. And once these stones are captured, these 2 stones, or 3 stones, these 2 stones then are reunited. So let's move this up now to the third and the fourth line, and you'll see this. This is a common shape in this, not so much, but this and this are both happen a lot on the Go board. There's relationships of stones. So here now it's on the third and the fourth line. So once again, let's look at white from the top. White cuts. Black is going to press this way. Then notice they can also come this way and capture this stone in a ladder as long as white doesn't have a ladder breaker down there, can't they? As long as there's not a ladder breaker down in this area, black can do that. But they can also press down here, here, and then black doesn't worry about this cut. Notice this is kind of this, it looks a lot like this, which we've seen in a previous lesson, but black has an extra stone here. Black doesn't need to worry about this cutting point right here. Black can come down there. Notice if white cuts here, black extends out, and now these 2 stones have 3 liberties, don't they? And these stones have 3, these stones have 2, the white stones, and these black stones have 4. So all of white's black groups have more liberties than these 2 white stones here. So these 2 white stones will be captured first. If white Ataris from this side, black simply connects into a bigger and solider group. If instead white tries to get out here, now they have 3 liberties. Black plays here, and now the white group has 2 liberties. Black has 1, 2, 3, 4 with this group. Black has 1, 2, 3, 4 liberties with this group. This is still the weak group, but once again, if white goes here, Atari, black extends out, and now they have 3 liberties, which is more than these 2 stones, these 3 stones here, which just have 2 liberties. And if white plays there, black just simply connects. White's not getting out of this. Atari. And if they connect, they get captured. So even on the third and fourth line, white can't disconnect these two stones when they play in the top. How about the bottom now? Black blocks, white tries to disconnect with a cross cut. It's black's turn. They can play this. They can also play a ladder, can't they? They can just ladder this stone. Right? And then either here or here, either one, and white's going to be captured. So white would have to have like a ladder breaker down here before they could try that. So if it started out something like this, black should kind of know, hey, this connection is not as solid as it is without this stone, because white's got this ladder breaker here. But without that ladder breaker, excuse me, there and there, cross cut, black can simply capture in a ladder. If white has a stone here, let's see what happens when black goes down like this. Instead of trying to capture in a ladder here, now black has to keep white from connecting, right? But now white gets to turn and put this stone in Atari, and when black extends out, white gets to keep extending out, and white should be able then to escape here. Notice black can't cut because it's Atari, or black can't hane because it's Atari here, and then white will Atari back to here and capture this stone. So black would need to keep extending out, and white would keep extending out. And black can't hane again, because if they play to push this stone up, when white comes up, now white has Atari and capture. So black would have to play something, when white played this, black would have to play something like that. But once again, white can come up there and have a threat, or white can play this way too. Something like this. Notice that white's not alive here, right? They can make at best one eye. So the question then becomes a capturing race between white is trying to capture these black stones in order to get this group out. All right, so that would be that. So even on the third and fourth line, the relationship of a 1-point knight's jump is connected unless white has like a ladder breaker down here below. If they have a ladder breaker out here somewhere, that's okay, because that's not what's going to determine this. It's going to be the ladder this way that determines whether black can reconnect these two stones or whether white can cut them apart. Right? All right, so let's go up now one more. So from the fourth and the fifth line and farther up, now it's going to get a little more tricky. Here, white cuts, black Atari's this way. This doesn't do anything. White comes down, has 3 liberties, and if black keeps playing this way, white keeps coming down. Now they have 4 liberties. Black plays that way, and now white can probably jump out this side over here. So black might try the throw in, and then the Atari, and then the block. But the problem is for black is that they can't maintain this ladder, because when white comes up here, they put these 3 stones into Atari because there's this stone up here, right? So black has to come out like this somehow, and then it kind of becomes a question of whether white can capture these stones first or capture these stones first before black captures. Probably black has the advantage. Notice all they need to do here is here, and then Atari, and then capture. But it's 3 stones, 3 moves, and that's 3 moves that white gets to have. So maybe white comes out, something continues like this. Okay. If black doesn't play out here again, white gets to hane there, and now white has 3 liberties, and black is 1, 2, 3 moves away. Oops. 3 moves away. 1, 2, Atari. So that's okay at that point. So black is probably going to be able to capture these stones before white captures these stones. But these stones are going to be the question, whether black or white can, whether white can capture these 3 stones, or black can get out with them. Black might, at some point just try this, try to get out that way, but now they kind of got to be a little careful of this over here. It's going to determine what is around these stones, right? So let's go back to here. So the original position with this, white played there, black played here, white played here, black came down there, and we saw that kind of worked out okay for black. But black can also, let's say white has a stone down here already. Now the black playing here won't work, and it's going to determine whether or not black can capture this white stone here in a ladder, or whether white has a ladder breaker down somewhere in this area of the board. So if white plays underneath here instead, closer to the edge of the board, once again black blocks here, and white cuts here, and now if black has a ladder on this stone, don't they? Playing this doesn't really help black. Trying to capture this stone here is pretty unreasonable for black. Here, here. Now they've got it in a ladder, but white can just extend out. So the question is really going to be whether they can capture this stone or not, and whether white has a ladder breaker down here, or whether black can simply play this. Notice that white could do could play it to this position here, and when black played there, white could play a ladder breaker down here. So somewhere maybe here, they would get a free move there, and then black would pretty much be forced to pick up or play here. I'd rather just pick up and get rid of the Aji. But notice white got a free move out of that. So even on the fourth and fifth line, black should be able to reconnect those if they have if they can capture the cutting stone in a ladder. Something like this. They capture one of the cutting stones that way, or if white plays like this, they capture this stone in a ladder. So when you get up to the fourth and the fifth line and more into the center, the question is going to be whether black can capture this stone, one of these stones in a ladder, one of the cutting stones, or whether white has a ladder breaker. All right, well, that is the lesson 5.5.1, the 1-point knights jump in the series of Fighting Common Shapes. Thanks for watching the World Go channel, and we'll see you next time. Have a great one. Bye-bye.